In recent days, President Trump, who took office, has made many different statements about a possible meeting with you, and about the prospects for a Ukrainian settlement. I wanted to know your opinion. First of all, I want to say that Russia has never refused contacts with the United States administration. And it's not our fault that the previous administration refused these contacts. I have always had a businesslike, exclusively businesslike, but at the same time pragmatic and trusting relationship with the current president in the United States, I would say. And I cannot but agree with him that if he had been president, if the victory had not been stolen from him in the 2020th year, then maybe there would not have been the crisis in Ukraine that arose in the 2022nd year. Although it is known that Trump, as president, also introduced a significant amount in his first iteration. At that time, the largest number of restrictions and sanctions against Russia. I don't think it was a decision that corresponded to the interests of not only Russia, but also the United States itself. By the way, Biden picked up this baton and imposed even more restrictions, and the result is known. There are a lot of decisions that are harmful to the economy of the United States itself. For example, undermining the power of the dollar itself, because Russia banned the use of the dollar, and we did not abandon the dollar. It was the previous administration that did not give us the opportunity to use the dollar as a unit of account. He, in my opinion, inflicts this decision, causes very serious damage to the United States itself. But we won't go into it now, but I can only say that we see the statement of the current president about readiness to work together. We are always open for this. As for the issue related, let's say, to negotiations. After all, in this sense, we have always said, I want to emphasize it again, we are ready for these negotiations on Ukrainian issues. But here too, there are issues that require special attention. For example, as you know, the current head of the regime in Kyiv, when he was still a fairly legitimate head of state, issued a decree banning negotiations. How can negotiations be resumed now if they are prohibited? Here we are now in the veterans of Moscow University. As you know, I am a lawyer by basic education. He graduated from the law faculty of St. Petersburg, then Leningrad University. I can tell you that if negotiations begin within the framework of the current regulatory framework, they will, strictly speaking, be illegitimate. And this means that the results of these negotiations can also be declared illegitimate. The current regime in Kyiv is happy to receive hundreds of billions from its sponsors. Sorry for the simplicity of expressions, for the simplicity of popular expressions, as we say in the people. These hundreds of billions are happy to hamster for both cheeks, but to follow the instructions of their sponsors. And we know that there are such instructions. To cancel the decree banning negotiations is in no hurry. I think that in the end, those who pay the money should still force him to do it. And I think he will have to do it. But while this decree has not been cancelled, it is quite difficult to say that these negotiations can be started. And, most importantly, completed properly. Of course, some preliminary plans can be made, but in serious negotiations. About serious negotiations, of course, in the conditions of the ban on the Ukrainian side, to conduct these negotiations. In the conditions of this ban, to talk about something serious and quite difficult. And in general, of course, we can have quite a lot of points of contact with the current administration, searching for solutions to key issues of today. These are questions about strategic stability and economic issues, by the way. Why? We are one of the largest producers of, say, oil in the world. The United States now generally takes the first place, then Saudi Arabia, Russia. But what is typical for the Russian and, let's say, the American economy? We are not just one of the largest producers of energy resources, we are also the largest consumers of energy resources. And this means that for both our and the American economy, too high prices are bad because using energy carriers, it is necessary to produce other goods inside the country. And too low prices are also very bad because it undermines investment opportunities for energy companies. There is something to talk about here. There are other issues in the energy sector that may be of mutual interest. By the way, in this sense, I doubt that the current President of the United States, Mr. Trump, I repeat, we also worked with him in his first period of presidency, so that he made any decisions. Even if we hear about the possibility of additional sanctions against Russia, I doubt that he will take such decisions that will harm the American economy itself. He is not only a smart, pragmatic person, and I can hardly imagine that decisions will be made that harm the American economy itself. Therefore, most likely, it is really better for us to meet, based on the realities of today, to talk calmly in all those areas that are of interest to both the United States and Russia. We are ready. But, I repeat, first of all, of course, it depends on the decisions and choices of the current American administration.